Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Life Lessons series here on Golden Opportunities Coaching. Welcome to number 128, and hopefully you're enjoying the series. Hopefully you're also enjoying the work we put into the channel. I'm not here as often as I like to be, but that is constantly ever changing, and hopefully by the first of the year I'll either have my move figured out or at least a clearer path to getting here on a more consistent basis. At least I hope, but in any event, hopefully that is something that we can achieve and kind of get to in a more consistent and meaningful way. Sometimes that goes well, sometimes it doesn't. Anyhow, hopefully that is something that can be achieved pretty simply and effectively. Would love to be of assistance to you if that's something that you are looking at. Please feel free to reach out. A couple ways to do that. You can reach out through Twitter at PO Perception. You can reach out through the About Me section of this YouTube page. Either way, you can get in contact with me and then ultimately, make that connection. And so hopefully that is helpful to you in a meaningful way. And in any event, a couple of things. Turning pain into passion point is one of the most important things that a person can do in a lot of ways. So that generally means kind of looking at things a little differently, looking at things from a more progressive and directed state. Now, directed doesn't necessarily mean you know what you're doing every day, all day, but it means kind of taking the pain points, taking the things that slow you down, taking the things that take you out of balance, repurposing them, re-identifying them, knowing that it's how you look at things, how you perceive things that matters. It's not necessarily what happens to you. It's what you do with the information and using that in a way that makes sense. Also understanding that there is no such thing as universally perfect in that, perfect to one person and perfect to another, and your definitions of keywords, love, success, fear, doubt, progress, all of these things are things that we internally define. And so when we look at things and go, hey, is this something that I understand or can relate to in my own life and make things work, and living without shame for things that learning and growing is important. Now, obviously, if we hurt another person, if we um, are harmful on purpose, having shame around that, but also finding the balance between shame, taking personal responsibility, and then converting that into seeing ourselves as a person who's growing, and then giving ourselves self forgiveness, corrective behavior, and then moving forward. Understanding that adversity, I hate the phrase adversity builds character. Adversity does challenge us, and it's not fair, but it isn't the definition of our identity. And so, understanding that we will face some level of adversity most often when we do not want to, mainly because a lot of people are in a place where, having that adversity is not something we can handle. The next thing is consistency. So, understanding that being consistent with whatever habit or behavioral change we want to make, being consistent with how we view ourselves and the world around us is one of the most important things that we can ever do. Understanding also that the love we give from an agape, which means love as an action sort of way, and realizing that it, love can be experienced as an emotion, it can be expressed in words, but it's truly when we live it as an action continually that we get to a place where we're mastering what love was meant to be throughout the ages. And so when we see ourselves as a person who can do that or who's endeavoring to do that, we can then live more fully. Living fully is understanding that positive and negative things happen. It is our interpretation, perception, and perspective on them that will determine the quality of our lives. And then understanding also that finding a routine that works for us is one of the most important things we can do. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that someone else would do. It also doesn't have to be something that everyone understands. I think a lot of times we search for, we look for meaning in other people accepting where we are rather than accepting where we are ourselves, and then beginning to understand that when that doesn't happen, we become more frustrated, we become unbalanced or unhappy or dissatisfied, and that doesn't serve us well either. So hopefully this is helpful. I encourage you, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.